Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live broadcast. I'm Steve Altition, Director of Client Partnerships here at Pacific Cascade Legal. And today we have our firm attorney, Andrew Hayes, to talk about co-parenting and the holidays. I'm calling this one Making a List and Checking It Twice. So before we start in on that, Andrew, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Pacific Cascade Legal?
Sure. I am a family attorney here at the firm, and I handle divorces, custody modification, parenting time modification, uh, prenups, you name it, for family law, and I do it.
I love it. I love it. Then you're the perfect elf to join us today.
Yes.
Okay, sorry for the bad puns. Making a list, checking it twice. Let's make a list, and we'll start with why are the holidays so hard on co-parents and co-parenting plans?
I know it's true. We are in the getting into the holiday season, and I am running into the same problems, and it's emotional. It's the holidays are already stressful. It's
Yeah.
already stressful to figure out how you're going to pay for everything, what you're going to do, all the strain on your body of decorating and putting the lights up, and then on top of it, you have this ever-present strain of co-parenting with another person and figuring out all of the details for what's going to happen. So that's just the background. And that's just a background that's universal for everyone. Never mind if you really care about the holidays of Thanksgiving or Christmas or not. Most people do. And so add on top of that what's going to happen, and then it only takes a little tiny little drop of any kind of drama to explode.
That is so true. And let's kind of talk a little bit about the holiday arrangement, the holiday parenting, who gets who where, who gets what when, um, and maybe a little bit about why those can go bad, um, how how much you really need to have, down on paper. If you have anything down on paper, are there different ways to do it? But when we were talking about this today, or yesterday, we were talking about today, and we went through this part, and you offered a something that is actually happened and is happening that has to do with school and school being part of the Christmas holiday schedule and things that can go wrong. And why don't you share that one up with us?
Absolutely. I am in Salem. Most of my clients are down here in Salem and Lane County, Eugene, Yamhill County area, but I do have some clients that are up in Portland. And as I'm sure all of the parents of the Portland public school system are already very well aware, the teacher's strike necessitated that the school will need to do some makeup classes, and they just announced, well, a couple weeks ago, I think, they announced that of the 11, I think, makeup days, that five of them are going to be the first week of winter break. And well, I shouldn't say most, because parenting plans can be infinitely customizable for whatever it is. But one of the standard, just the plans we reach for if no one has any better idea, or if they don't need anything better, is that one parent gets the first week of winter break from school getting out all the way up until Christmas Eve, usually, sometimes Christmas Day. And then the other parent gets it from Christmas Eve, Christmas Day to when school gets back in. It comes out to be about equal. One one family does Christmas on Christmas Eve, the other one does it on Christmas Day, and then the next year they switch. Well, I have a client that has that. Their parenting time this year happened to be an odd year, and so they get the first week of winter break. And well, now there's no winter break for a first week. Now Portland's lets the kids out. I think they're letting them out Friday. Yeah, they still have Friday, I think, but So his parenting time was just obliterated for the holidays, and it's super important. And this client lives far away from his child, so that was rough on that. Um, and so having a parenting plan that takes into account these kinds of things is a good idea. Most parenting plans have your standard time, and then you have the holidays that trump the standard time. If there's a holiday, then you go to the holiday, and then highest of all usually is birthdays that trump everything and all the time. But the holiday schedule will take precedence over a regular schedule. And so one of the problems that we ran into in this other case is that the holiday plan was triggered by school being let out. And so, because school is not going to be let out the first week, that meant the holiday plan didn't take into effect. And that meant that his parenting time was obliterated. Now, thankfully, cooler heads prevailed in that case where the two sides got together and we all acknowledged it. And we said, okay, we need to figure something else out for this year, just for this year. So we did a temporary agreement to split the holidays so and so and however the parties wanted to do it, and there was an amicable agreement, which was fantastic because that's what's going to be in the best interest of the children in that case, of course. Sorry, I'm just going to keep spiraling out for point on point on point if I keep talking.
No, no, that totally makes sense because, sort of like you're saying, people go into holidays with kind of one or two things. They actually have a parenting plan that talks about the holidays. And in that case, in this situation, what you said is that sometimes even if it talks about it, it doesn't consider every single thing that can happen. And that's when flexibility comes in, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and the flexibility will, I think, is the most important thing. There's two things that are in my mind the most important thing for the holidays. And it's one, just making sure you have a plan that is fair ahead of time. And you're right. You're never going to be able to pre-plan and have something that takes everything that might happen into account. So that's important. Um, and so fairness ahead of time, so that you can have that planned for, so that the parents can feel that it's fair. And second, it's so important to keep in mind the best interests of the child. That phrase gets thrown around every 2 seconds in this line of work with parenting thing, inside out of court. What's in the best interests of the child? Well, uh, what I mean by that this time is that children tend to take drama upon their own shoulders and take responsibility for it. It's not logical. They shouldn't be taking it on there. They might be having parents doing all they can to make sure the child doesn't take any kind of tension onto their own shoulders, but it's just going to happen if there's any kind of relationship drama. I've talked to people that have grown up with split households, divorce, never married in the first place. And yes, almost every single one that I talked to said if there was ever tension between the families, they took responsibility for it in their heads, even though everyone was telling them not to. They just did. So having things planned ahead, which is why I love your make a list and check it twice, but also keeping in mind for flexibility what is in the best interests of the child. The best interest of the child is that the two families will be harmonious and reacting to situations in a fair and appropriate manner. That's why I was so happy about the resolution of my case, where according to the language of the judgment, if you were just to look at the judgment as written, he was out of luck. He just lost his parenting time with no makeup parenting time at all. But
Yeah.
cooler heads prevail. That's why I was so happy, because it is in the best interest of the child to see both parents for the holidays. And it's also in the best interest of the child that that should be agreed to amicably between the parents so that they're all happy with it. They're all going forward with a unified front. Absolutely fantastic. That's what I loved to see in that case.
And that kind of led to, one of my checking it twice ones, which was, grandma only comes to town on this holiday. And, it doesn't happen to be the holiday that the grandkids are with the parents. And, it'd be kind of nice if we'd be able to allow her to see the kids or have something. And like you said, being flexible is the key, even when it's written down. And that then leads to other times I'm talking to people, and it's like, well, it's my time with the kid, so I can do whatever I want with the kid. And that leads to, my sort of checking it twice question, which is, can I take my child to midnight mass?
Well, that is
Assuming
on
I'm
its
Catholic.
right, right, right. On its face, yes, you do get to do whatever you want within reason during your parenting time. And everything that you need to do, of course, has that umbrella of best interests of the child. And it could very well be in your home that it's very, very important to have some kind of religious service or observation. Now, I'm staying away from the whole custody issue because it's the custodial parent that decides what religion the child identifies in. But even if you're the non-custodial parent, that doesn't mean your child can't participate in things. They just maybe can't identify as it
Yeah.
or get too
Yeah.
far into it.
Well,
But as far as midnight goes, maybe it is important. Maybe it's important for your child. In that case, you'd want to make sure that you're making up for it, making sure the kid's going to be able to sleep in the next day. Communicating with the co-parent is very important so that they're aware that it's happening. Absolutely. So communication and figuring out what's in the best interest of the child with the co-parent is where it's going to be. Now, I say that knowing very well that a lot of situations our co-parents are never going to agree on that.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, it as sort of the counterpoint to that, and just exactly what we were saying was, well, yeah, okay, of course you can take your kid to midnight mass, but can I use Easter to baptize my kids? That sort of gets into the custody issue, doesn't it?
yes, yes, that's what religion the child identifies as in any kind of religious ceremony that imparts kind of identity or membership. That's going to be a custodial decision, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll always throw probably at the end of every sentence in family law.
Oh, of course. We've talked about that. I mean, you could say something, I could say something, everyone can say something, but until the judge says something, you don't really know for sure. Which
Well,
sort of
oh, sorry.
okay, I'm just gonna say which sort of goes to that question of best interest of the child. And how would you answer a question if someone says, well, hold it. My ex-spouse wants to take our kid who's allergic to bee stings to a bee farm.
Yeah, that's probably past the line for risk for me.
I like
Uh,
that.
uh, as far as that, you probably don't want to do that. It's all okay. So this is something we talked about yesterday a lot. There's always these two sides to the same coin in my mind, doing all of these analysis for individual cases. Number one, if we were all going in front of a judge and saying, Judge, we want to do this, they want to prevent it, make a decision for us. And of course, there's no way to predict what the judge is going to do in each individual instance, but most of the time, we already kind of know. For instance, your example that you mentioned earlier, grandma who lives on the other side of the world or the East Coast is coming to town for Christmas. She's only going to be here for these days. Can we flip the schedule around to make sure the kid is there so that they can have a one-on-one in-person interactions with grandma? I don't think there's any judge that I've ever been in front of that would not be happy to grant that. And so to the parent that doesn't want to allow that change so that they can see grandma, that's what a judge is going to order. It is in the child's best interest to have a good relationship with extended family. And of course, the judge is going to order that, and so that should happen. All the way over to your other extreme of the beef the beef farm for a kid that's allergic to bees, deathly allergic. No, no, no. We need to not do that. Now, of course, as I said, there's two sides to the same coin. The other side of the coin is that uh, we realize that no, you're probably not going to litigate. Can can grandma come to town and this change? First of all, sometimes these changes happen just now. We're still dealing with, I'm sure a lot of people are still dealing with holiday drama that hasn't been resolved yet. And there's no way we're going to get into a courtroom for a lot of modification or even fast set hearings. The courts are already full up with business, and so unless there's some kind of immediate danger thing or an immediate danger motion that you'd like to bring, probably not going to be able to have a judge look in front of it. Plus, it costs time and money. It costs a lot of time and money and headache. Um, and so uh, talking to lawyers, talking to other people that are knowledgeable about what a judge might do can save a lot of time and money. For instance, the grandma instance. I don't, like I said, I don't know any kind of lawyer. I don't know any kind of judge that wouldn't say the same, given the same set of facts. If there was something else adding to it, sure, that might change. But yeah.
So obviously, the whole coordinating of the parenting time, um, turns other, like you said, other parenting times over on their head because it takes dominance over it, and there's issues. Clearly, one of the big issues at holiday time. The other big issue, and I don't know if it gets addressed as much, but down at the on the ground, it happens all the time, and it's coordinating gift giving plans. It is a thing, isn't it? It's a real issue that comes up, and it's not something that necessarily, um, parent A will give parent B a sweater every other year kind of thing you can do.
Mhm. Yes. Um, I can certainly well understand the feelings and thoughts going through parents' heads around the holidays for gift giving. Not exactly drama, but it's just gift giving issues and how much do you get and what happens with the other person? How well are you able to coordinate? Because you actually had in the notes that you sent me, I loved your idea of let me see if I can find it here. First of all, coordinating with the other parent to make sure that you're not going to double up on anything. And also maybe even helping the child pick out a gift for the other parent. Uh I love that idea. Now, there's possibility for drama there, of course, but that sounds like a wonderful activity for a parent and child to engage in for one very important, or for two very important reasons. I'll give the good reason and still a good reason, but maybe a not so good reason that's still good. I'll explain that. Sorry, I'm babbling. The first good reason is that supporting the other parent as a loving, close relationship with the child is a wonderful thing for the child. You take what I said earlier, where if there's any drama, the child will take it upon their shoulders, just 9 times out of 10. The child will take psychological responsibility for any kind of drama, and that includes gift giving drama. And so I very strongly counsel all of my clients, think twice before you try to start playing games with the gift giving. If you want to get one up on the other parent by getting a flashier, nicer gift, it is going to cause drama and the child will suffer because of it. Just that's my prediction, prophecy. But flip it on its head, and then you have your situation where you're helping the kid get a gift for the other parent, pick one out, help buy it. Okay, there you go. And then maybe you're cheating a little bit, where you already kind of know what might be a good gift. You've already coordinated with the other parent. That's the kid doesn't need to know that, but that reinforces that the other parent, oh, I hope you have a good time with the other parent. Here's this other gift. You know, it's fantastic. We're having this. You're getting one-on-one time with your child, going through a store trying to pick out a gift. Maybe you can. I don't know if the oh goodness, I haven't been to a mall in decades. If they still have those gift giving trees where you take a little
Oh,
tree that has the some child in need has scribbled what they want,
yep.
and you go out with the kid to go find it to get the kid. That's a fantastic activity. It's kind of like that, and it supports it. Now, that lowers the sense of drama. It's a fantastic activity for you to do with your child, and also helps the holidays be a memorable, positive experience for the child and for you.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the other side of it, if there is drama and you know it is, let's say you know the other person's going to be um, you just know the other person's going to be petty with the gift. There's no way you can stop it. There's no coordination possible. It's still not a bad activity uh, because of one of the custodial factors. One of the custodial factors, if custody is ever going to change, or maybe someone's about to go through a custody battle where the judge has to look at the statutory factors of custody. One of the most important factors for the custody, I call it number 6, even though I think in the statute it's F or whatever, but it is the willingness and ability of each parent to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing relationship between the other parent and the child. So, that if you need no other motivation than that, there's a motivator right there.
I love that. I love that. The other side, when it comes to holidays, feels not like a coin. It feels like one of those Dungeon and Dragons dice that have, 20 sides to them. They all create different results, which again leads to you're talking about the, not interfering and not, and being uh, stringent in helping your child relate to the other parent. But there can be some issues, as is on my checking it twice question. Can my ex-spouse give our child an AK-47 for Christmas?
I am not quite familiar with gun ownership laws and regulations in Oregon. Um, However, if there is so probably not an AK-47, probably not any kind of automatic rifle. But as far as any kind of gift that the other parent might think is inappropriate, such as the first firearm, I know certainly I have met many families. I come from a family like this, although not personally, not my personal father, but the rest of his family. Gun ownership is very important to them. And there's a tradition of the BB gun going into the first rifle. They teach safety. They're all very safe with it, and that will be a conversation that you have to have with the co-parent. And so, no, your other parent probably can't get the AK-47 or anything above that, a flamethrower or anything like that. But that is a conversation you'll have to have to the co-parent, knowing that, yeah, that parent probably can get them the BB gun.
Yeah.
You
And
will have to deal with that.
and that's exactly right. Having to deal with it is actually a big thing. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about this. It's not, especially when you get to kind of like holidays and birthdays and things like that. It's like it's not about you maybe today.
Mhm.
So, kind of look at it from some other people's point of view. And but I do have one other checking it twice question, which I actually have hear people talk about, and it has to do with support, especially child support, and buying things for the kids. And in this case, I'm just going to put it down to, can I reduce a portion of my child support payment to cover my portion of the gifts we give to the kids?
No. Child support is set by statute. The legislature set the calculator, and you plug the numbers into it for child support. Now, there is an option of stipulating to child support when you're planning your parenting plan in the courts. And so if you want to take Christmas into account, absolutely, you can shift it around. I believe at the end of the calculator, it's up to, was it 10%? Oh, ah, there's a percentage that you can kind of shove it up or down for various reasons. But no, unfortunately, you do not play games with child support. And anyone that is tempted to play games with child support, I will remind them that there is a 9% annual interest on unpaid child support that starts to accrue the very moment that it becomes due or past due month by month. And so don't play games with child support.
The the other thing you had talked to me about, and it kind of goes with this last sort of area that I want to cover, which is just really, we've touched on focusing on your children, making the holiday special for them. What are you going to prioritize? What are you really going to do at the end of the day? And how much you're going to fight. And you told me an interesting story that you have told your clients is in that, when you go to a judge, there's you two things you don't want to have happen, I think you said. One is, you getting thrown in jail, and other is your attorney getting thrown in jail.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
there are things you really need to kind of look at going, am I just being just ridiculous?
Mhm. Yes, and I always okay. I'm going to say this very briefly because I can talk at length about this. We all have confirmation bias. We all are looking at the facts with our confirmation bias of we want our actions to be reasonable. Therefore, when we look at our motivations and our actions and someone else's actions, it has that lens over it of confirmation bias. So find someone that is neutral, that will tell it to you straight. So maybe not a close friend, but maybe your close friend tells it to you straight every time, and run it past them, so that you're not standing in front of a judge with a judge leaning over the bench looking at you saying, "You just spent how much on an attorney to come to me and say," for instance, my case that happened, school took away that the other parent's parenting time, and you want to tell them to just go hang out to dry? You don't want your kid to spend any time around Christmas with their other parent? I'm going to remember this. You do not want that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are really close to the end. Wow. We really blew through this. So I am going to ask you one last question, which I think takes in some of these issues and a term that you like to use as well. So my question originally, checking it twice, was my ex is taking our kids to Disneyland in California over Christmas vacation. Well, then why can't I take them to Disneyland Paris next year?
Go for it. As long as it's during your parenting time and as long as there's no travel restrictions or anything in your parenting plan to do that. Although I think you're referring to the term that I use.
Yes, I am.
Uh, I call it Disneylanding. It's where one parent plans a trip to Disneyland, tells the kid about it, and then tells the other parent, and oh my goodness, whoops, it's during your parenting time. So, oh, you better not have a problem with this, or else the kid will be devastated and it will be your fault. I call that scenario Disneylanding. And it doesn't have to be Disneyland. It can be anything. It can be anything. Don't plan things on the other parent's parenting time during without talking to them first, because hey, if you can get a trip to Disneyland, but for some reason your work has it, okay, it's only in this day, okay, yeah, we want to do it. Talk to the other parent. And I hope that the other parent would say, oh, that's fantastic. Kid gets to go to Disneyland. Here, let's move the dates around and do some makeup parenting time. And that's fantastic. Cool. Uh, but don't, do not Disneyland. Do not plan things. And especially don't tell your kids about it before you tell the other parent about it. Just de facto, just to me, de facto, you can't co-parent. Just, it's just you need to go back, take the parenting class, and heaven help if it's ever in a courtroom and a judge hears that story,
Yeah.
because that will hurt. Doesn't matter how much you want to do it, doesn't matter how good you think it's going to be. Do not Disneyland the other parent.
And I'm assuming that also means, maybe especially means, don't have your kids tell the other parent about it. Don't make that contact be through your kids to make them especially vulnerable. Oh
Oh,
yeah, dad wanted to do this. Can we go? Kind of thing.
oh yeah, yeah. Kids shouldn't be messengers or advocates or anything. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's said, we have to throw that in some parenting plans, and I think I can't remember if that provision's in the Oregon model parenting plan or not, but we throw it in if it isn't.
Yeah.
That the children will not pass messages, no matter
Yep.
how benign sometimes.
Yep. Yep. I love it. Well, nope. We are unfortunately completely out of time now, Andrew. Thank you so much for being here today to talk about this subject, co-parenting the holidays. It's not an easy thing. So thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
And everyone, thank you for joining us today. If anyone has any further questions on today's topic, you can post it here. We can get you in touch with an attorney. Until next time, stay safe, stay happy, and be well.